That had to be one of the better fights that RWBY has had this volume, and I think is my favorite fight thus far. How's it going, everyone? So here I'm going to discuss basically Volume 4, Chapter 7 of RWBY entitled Punished. This video is basically going to be a discussion and a review of the Qrow versus Tyrian fight, as well as the stuff that we got with Weiss and her father. I'm going to be holding off on the Oscar and Ozpin part of the episode because I feel like I could do a separate video on that part. We got a lot of information that we can basically speculate and then just talk about within that department. But anyways, I want to dive right into that fight because, damn, that was a dope-ass fight. You had great choreography between Qrow and Tyrian. The animators that contributed to that episode definitely did a fantastic job. The music was killer. I definitely want to know what that song was that was playing near the end of the fight. I have a feeling that we're gonna find out the name and the song title and what that song's gonna be on the Volume 4 soundtrack, and I can't wait for this Volume 4 soundtrack awesomeness. The animation was fluid and crisp, I thought so at least, but because both Qrow and Tyrian were very quick and fierce with their strikes, but we also had Tyrian who was very flexible as well. He was basically like a gymnast going back and forth. I know he's a faunus and he has the scorpion tail, so that just contributes to his overall flexibility, but the fight between them was the best. But I think the coolest shot that I thought throughout that entire episode was when Qrow got thrown out of that building and threw his sword and basically used it as kind of like leverage to where he just slid back onto it and he was just standing on top of it. I think that is the coolest shot out of that whole fight. The fight was great, but I also feel that like RWBY and the rest of them were kind of like they should not have been there. Definitely with RWBY. She did not belong within that fight. I don't mean that in a negative way at all because RWBY is a very skilled fighter. It's just that she's not on that same level that Qrow and Tyrian were fighting on. I mean, even in certain parts, you can see just how fast they were moving. And it's just basically like she's out of their league. She was a child among adults. And basically, I feel that with Qrow, he was kind of held back in a way with having RWBY there because he was more in guarding her and protecting her rather than just going all out against Qrow. Because if he didn't have to worry about RWBY and the rest of Team Ranger, I feel like he could have really have gone in and probably have given Tyrian a run for his money. I also love the fact that Qrow also, as soon as his weapon was taken away, he just resulted within his fists, and he just started punching the fuck out of Tyrian, which I thought was hilarious. And knowing Qrow and his drinking habits, you can definitely tell he's gotten into a few bar fights now and again back in his day, and I'm just saying, but you can definitely tell that as soon as his weapon was gone, he just resulted to the only weapons he had, and that was his fist, and I really loved that part. So by the end of the episode, Qrow's got nicked by Tyrian, so his tail has cut him around the rib cage, and he's possibly poisoned. And then Tyrian got his tail cut off by RWBY in the final moments of the fight. He's now retreating back to Salem, hoping that she could heal him and forgive him for actually failing his mission. And I doubt Qrow's going to die. He's too favorite of a character right now, but knowing Rooster Teeth and what they've done so far with RWBY, it's not the first time that they've killed off a beloved character. R.I.P. Pyrrha. But it's just going to be very interesting to see where they move forward with this and to see where it actually leads to. And dealing with Salem, I can't see Salem basically taking Tyrion's loss very well. I do wonder, however, if she will actually end up healing him in some way, because maybe his tail will grow back or something will be added to it to improve upon it. So I'm very interested to see, once Tyrian gets back to Salem, what's going to transpire between those two. Also, as a small note, they said bitch in this episode, so congratulations to the RWBY team for contributing to that. So now at the end of the episode, we know that Team Ranger is now going to basically find out about Salem and this whole war that's been going on between the shadows. So expect story time with good old Drunkle Qrow next episode. They most likely will get within the history lesson of basically the whole backstory of, hopefully, of what Salem is. Just a little bit. I don't think they're going to give everything away right away, but I feel like we're going to get some backstory and learn more about what has been going on throughout the series that we just don't know about yet. And now with that fight out of the way, let's move over to the Father of the Year. So after Weiss's premature summoning in the last episode during the banquet, we basically have Papa Jockstrap yelling at our beloved Ice Queen. We know he was a terrible person before, but my God, he is just despicable. Being a father in this high and prestigious family, he just cares more about Leanne and the reputation that his actual family gives him than his actual family himself. Well, strike that. He actually does care about his family. He cares about the image his family is actually and the status that his family is able to give him. and so he can continue to be perceived as this good and honorable man leading Atlas into its glory days, basically. And as we know as viewers, that isn't the case, and he's just a total dick throughout this entire episode to Weiss. Also, he hit Weiss, and I'm not sure how Weiss fans are going to take that, the fact that Weiss's own father slapped her. So, and now we kind of understand why Weiss's mom drinks in the garden. So, due to her outbursts, Weiss is basically ordered to be locked away within her house, to where she's basically not going to be seen from the public eye. She's going to be kept away and just kind of be hidden from the rest of the world and most of Atlas. And also, her heiress title has now been stripped away from her. And as we come to learn, Whitley is now the heir to the Schnee name. Now, this is actually very interesting information that they've given us within the world of Remnant and the world of RWBY, because in our world, whenever a royal family or a higher-up family has an heir, it's usually the firstborn son that usually gets that title. But it seems that within the world of Remnant, and at least with the Schnee family, we have it to where no matter what gender the child is born as, it's the firstborn child that basically receives the heir or heiress title to the whole family name. Because he basically said that Winter was the original heiress, but due to her joining the military, he basically disowned her from the family, and then the title of heiress basically got dropped upon Weiss. And with Weiss's sudden outbursts and events at the banquet, her heiress title is now basically being revoked from her, and now Whitley is now seen as the sole heir to the Schnee name and also just the company in general. Plus, we also knew that Whitley was up to something, as you can see from his mannerisms, the way he acted as Weiss confronted him. I think everyone kind of saw this coming. He seemed very two-faced, and he's just an overall douche from the moment that we met him in episode 2 of this volume. But it also shows that Whitley is very patient and that he is willing to wait to get what he wants. Because he basically knew that at some point Weiss was going to do something to have their father strip her of her heiress title, and Whitley was going to be proclaimed as the rightful heir to the Schnee family name. It sucks, but I think this actually might end up doing some good for Weiss's character and development for the rest of the volume, and I think this is going to lead her in a good direction to where we might have all of Team RWBY conjoin once again. So after Weiss got her title taken away from her, she has some crying time. She gets all of her emotions out. She realizes that crying in her room actually won't solve any of her problems. She realizes that training will. So right now we have Weiss basically being very determined to practice and to get stronger with her glyphs and summonings. So once she does that, she'll be able to break free from the prison that her father is keeping her in right now and eventually venture out into the world of Remnant and hopefully rejoin and find the rest of RWBY, of Team RWBY, and basically combat the overall bigger threat that is attacking this world, and hopefully learn more about Salem and basically what that whole organization is planning to do for the entire Remnant world. Overall, though, I think this was an amazing episode. This had the best fight this volume so far, and it was very good setup to see what was to come and to what we can expect for the rest of this volume to unfold upon us. And so my video of Oscar and Ozpin will be separate from the overall review that I'm doing right here, so look forward to that on my channel. So tell me, guys, what do you think of this overall episode? What was your favorite moment? Where do you think the rest of this volume is going to be going? I want you guys to leave all your theories and comments down below, so that way we can just talk back and forth and see what we can come up with and just have overall fun speculating about the rest of this volume. If you didn't get the chance to check out my live reaction to the Chapter 7 of RWBY, you can actually click right here to see that live reaction. Go click it. It's really good. And also, if you want to stay up to date with all the RWBY content that I'm going to be providing for on this channel, you can click right here to subscribe to my channel. So that's it for this video, guys. And so until my next RWBY related video or any other video I put out, I'll talk to you guys all next time. All right. See you, everyone.